All right, everyone, welcome back for the episode of Carnivore Trades. Today is Thursday, May 25th, 2023. If you're not done so already, please give the video a thumbs up, like, comment, subscribe to the channel. Come find me on carnivoretrades.com for swing trading alerts and analysis. Anyways, let's get into it today. So obviously, Nvidia, the big story of the day, really dominated the entire market here. We had a little bit of debt ceiling talk, obviously. And it does look like they're getting closer to a deal. I'm sure they'll get it done. I would think that they would probably want to get it done before the 3-day weekend, but we'll see what they do here. You know, it's political theater, so I can't predict what the politicians are going to do here. But Nvidia up 24%. What can you say? It's a massive move here. Added 200 billion in market cap in about an hour here, and they're basically a $1 trillion company right now. I think this likely wants to go test 400, probably at least a pierce of that. But just what a move here. And we talked about this. This is one of the, I was tweeting all day long here. This is one of the strangest sessions I've seen in a very long time. I don't think I've ever seen anything quite like this. And the last time I felt this way, this kind of cautious, like something's broken here, was the day that Silicon Valley Bank blew up. And I kind of sniffed that out early because I'm always watching KRE. I always watch KRE anyway, before the regionals were, at the forefront of the market. And, it was down like 5-6%. And I said, and the market was basically green the whole time. And I said, guys, something's really wrong here. Something's broken. Sure enough, that was KRE here. But what I'm talking about is we look at, we could talk about breadth till we're blue in the face here, but I mean, we know it, but like, look at the heat map here. It's really just 10 kind of big stocks. Look at the heat map on the NASDAQ 100. It's even thinner. And then the Russell red. I really want to touch on the Russell here too. So like, let's look at the SPY. Let's just look at the SPY intraday. We'll just go here. So we came down, we traded up here, and the NASDAQ down, had a little consolidation, and then it pushed higher to new highs, The Dow and the Russell were both making new lows. I have never seen that, that I can remember anyway. I've seen it where, the NASDAQ's up and the Russell's underperforming or it's lagging, but I've never seen it just completely go in the opposite direction. And it wasn't just the Dow and the fact that it was the Dow and the Russell is big enough, but looking at these intraday patterns here, XLV, healthcare, XLF, XLE, VNQ, we cover this one every day too. That was going down. XHB turned red. We haven't talked about biotech in a while, but XBI, this got pounded. This has been getting hammered here. By the way, that old trend line worked out really well. What else do we have? Dollar index surging all day long. VIX, they backed off here, but it was holding up and actually made a new high of the day when the NASDAQ was making new highs and while the Russell was making new lows. Huge distortions. Crude down almost 4%. It was down 4% at one point during the day. So something does not feel right here. Definitely going to advise extreme caution in both directions right now. This is not, how the tape is supposed to read here. And another thing too, we'll go over here and I want to show you guys the yield too. We talk about this every day, but that's not good. So 4.3, the Fed funds rate's just above 5. If this starts creeping up there, it's the whole like, oh, the Fed's going to cut rates, that's gone. I don't care what the Fed fund futures are pricing in. This is what the Fed cares about here. If that gets up above 5% again, there's a huge problem on our hands. By the way, take a look at the 10-year, breaking out of that range. 30-year, hammering on 4% again. Fives, so fives up to 3.9. We have, I believe it was Waller today, and I'm not making this up, I wish I was, but Waller came out and said that, he thinks that the inverted yield curve is actually a good thing for the economy. So we've gone complete, bizarro backwardsness. And here's the yield curves here. That's going in the wrong direction. Like that's, they were starting to normalize here. There's a 3-month 10-year that's at least coming back up here. But it's going in the wrong direction. This is, there's 5s and 30s, 10s and 30s. And meanwhile, stonks are bright green, or at least 5 of them are, and that's all that matters to keep the market up. And you can tell the Dow, say what you want about being price cap weighted. Obviously, it makes kind of less sense, but the fact that it's price cap weighted shows breadth better, and the same thing with the Russell. We talked about this ad nauseum. Everybody's been talking about it. Look at the RSP, equal weight S&P. That's red for the year. So, QQQE, equal weight Qs. You still have it. I mean, it's not a terrible chart here. Let's not be, we'll be fair to it, but you never taken out that February high. So, just amazing price action here. I know AI is the future. It probably is, but the internet was the future in 2000. And ultimately, what matters is valuations, right? Yes, AI is very young in terms of where it is, in terms of where it will go. But you're talking about a company now that's at a 30 price to sales, and they have a $900 billion market cap. That's unsustainable, to say the least. And we're going into a recession with interest rates at 5%. So that's my take on it. Right now, I want to show you the spiders, though. Just picked this up last night. So I got rid of the broadening pattern that we've been following here. In fact, you can actually make a case that this is still part of it. I just don't think that lower trend line's as relevant, but we do have a rising wedge potentially. And we kind of violated that yesterday. And then, of course, like I said, Nvidia with the save. So thanks, Nvidia. But either way, came back in here and, it was up 87 basis points, but we'll see. If this could coil up here, I mean, this range is getting tight, and look where it tightens up to. Our favorite area that we've been looking at since December, and we haven't gotten there yet, but that's kind of where we have this nexus. So interesting price action. We'll watch that. If you get a confirmed break of this, it's probably going to take us lower. And again, we talked about that yesterday. If you close below 410.23 on a weekly close, that's probably going to bring you down to 400. So, but right now, I don't know. I don't know what they're going to rotate to. Bulls right now, they're expecting rotation, right? Everybody's expecting it, but I'm not seeing it. I mean, look at the Russell here. This is horrible. I mean, that's a bear flag that's a bear flag inside of an even bigger bear flag, right? I tell you there's that every single day. So, ridiculous price action here. The triple Qs, we did have a nice pop. Technically, you could make a case that's a hanging man candle or possible little island. So we did gap up and doji there. It's going to be hard to top if Nvidia and Apple don't top, but it's for what it's worth. And we do have this pivot here that I'm also watching at 342 and change. That goes back to 2021, and then if we kind of use it daily, you can see a little bit better. It makes a little bit more sense. But there you go. So we kind of went through it in January. We traded through it, then we bear flagged on it, and then we broke down. So that could be a little bit of resistance there that we're watching. But either way, what can you say? Tech, specifically 5 or 6 tech names are really taking the cake right now. Anyways, Dow here. So again, looks like they just closed below that 200 MA, but you do have a nice tail candle with a slight uptick in volume. So this can, if the market willing, we could probably trade back to 331.50, but that's probably going to be resistance here, at least for right now. But Dow, again, we don't want to lose that pivot. Otherwise, you're going down to probably that 323 handle. But again, it came off the lows here, so we'll respect it. Russell, which we talked about, again, just not a good chart here, closing back below all of the moving averages. So again, just a really weak chart altogether, and a really sign the breadth is pretty terrible. All right, semiconductors, big star of the day, obviously 8.6% gain, huge move there. Hey, again, what can you say? Above this trend line, huge move, and now really the next level we would look at would probably be about 145. So that's post split, obviously, and we're getting that from right here. So that's where you broke down. That's probably going to be resistance there on the upside. So SMH, big move there. AMD, look how overbought this is. This is unbelievable. 82. Speaking of overbought, by the way, the triple Qs are up 10% since 1 month ago to the day. So April 25th, March 25th, we're up 9.6%, I want to say. So either way, AMD here, 82 to 120, in probably even less time. Yeah, since May 3rd. If we look on a bigger picture here, there is a 618 we're coming into. Nice reversal bar there. I do like that level, especially given how overbought we are. But, man, these things are just powerhouse trades right now. IGV up 2.5. Still just made a little nominal high. Again, this can still get to that 322 area, which again goes back really quite a while. Really got to go back to 2020 to get to that level there, but that is a pretty good point of control there. All right, Dow transports are actually holding up okay today. Still not a great chart here altogether. Again, wedge is getting really tight here, and we've hammered on this down or upsloping trend line, the downside here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 times now with lower highs. So just be aware of that. But we're getting really tight in this range, and it's likely a move happens sooner rather than later here. So probably off the debt ceiling deal, in all honesty. All right, XHB. Let's go to rates here. So we talked about the 2-year a little bit, but I thought they'd save this today because, we came way off the lows. We were up here this morning, and I said, well, they're going to get a tail candle. We'll get some follow through tomorrow. But right now, that's a failed inside bar on the 2-year. Assuming we close, assuming they don't save it tomorrow, that's a problem. Really, it's plain and simple here. We talked about the 10-year. That broke out of a range today. 30-year also trying to break out here, but still has, quite a bit of resistance here. Might need to do a little more backing and filling, but rates, specifically at the short end, are still going up. So, despite what they tell you, that's inflationary. All right, XHB, basically a flat day. So inside, well, not flat day, I should say. It was an inside day. He was up 30 basis points, but I did a little bit of technical damage. If this can consolidate sideways, again, we'll look to 68 there again. It's really market willing at this point. ITB, same thing. So that's 2 days now, inside day. So if that, flags a little bit, it can go have another little leg down there. But again, they're holding up for now. So we'll just leave them at that. VNQ, obviously one of the weak dogs in the market. We came down here, we filled the gap yesterday. We talked about that, and there's that little pivot. We held that for now, but again, just a really weak chart in a strong downtrend. XLF here, again, down just 1 penny, but still red on the day here, below the moving averages. Weekly starting to look really soft here. We start getting down in this area, especially on a weekly close. There's nothing to say we can't go back down and pierce double bottom there. So XLF soft, KRE came off the lows today, but still struggled with that 42 area like we talked about yesterday. KBE, really the same thing, just kind of wedged between the 50 and 20 moving average there. And then broker dealers actually had a pretty decent day, so up 1% on the day. Maybe they made a lot of money on Nvidia, I don't know. But good reversal there. If this could firm up, maybe it can have another leg higher here, but overall still needs to get through that 50 moving average. All right, crude here. So outside day down. And it was trying to firm up. Remember, we talked about that yesterday. I said, look, it's trying to firm up a little bit here. But, you just wiped out the last 2 days of trading in one day, down 3.4% currently. Was down about 4% earlier. It's not dead yet, but that's a really ugly looking candle. And you really don't want to lose 70. And then 68 are going to be really important levels there for crude, but definitely some damage there. And again, this is, so, there's lots of problems out here, and crude down that much in one day, especially with the type of price action we have, is definitely a warning sign of something here. XLE, this is in danger of breaking down now. So we talked about the trend line I don't like, but we haven't never really gotten a confirmed break of it, but you get a weekly close below that. It's definitely going to be a big negative here, and that puts it into corrective mode. XOP, pretty good dump, so down 2.7, and that just wiped out the last 4 days of trading in one day. So gap down, held the 20 MA there, but not a pretty chart. Same thing with the OIH, down 2.5, still just above the 20 moving average, but nothing great there. And then even Nat Gas was down as well. So really all the energy space here. Nat Gas down 4.34% there. Probably it's got a little support here on the daily chart, but again, really, also this contract is running out here, so this one front contract is going to be thinner as we get the rollover shortly. But either way, really the whole energy space down today, and not good when you see that type of price action. Really, just kind of goes with the breadth thing too. I just don't like what I saw today. So, anyways, we talked about yield. So there's dollar index that continued higher, and we can go get the real chart here. So DXY up to 104.25. There's a little bit of a pivot here, right there. So right around 104.25 is basically where we are. But overall, we talked about this double bottom. I said we probably want to go pierce it, and that's probably going to be the low. I would have felt better if we got through 100 just to really get that even number. But either way, weekly chart failed bear flag, and that is still pushing higher. And again, this is another thing too. I mean, dollar just pushing higher like intraday with the market, just lots of distortions here. So I'm very, very cautious, and that's what I advise being right now. Gold here. So another little breakdown that was also got hit pretty hard, down 1.2. It's into the 100 MA. We did flag above it, so I wouldn't count on it holding. I'd feel a lot better around 1900 there. But again, that's another thing that was down pretty sharply today. With bonds getting hit, silver knifing right through. So I told you guys, bang my fist on the table, like, do not chase silver up here. I know everybody's like, no, it's going to new highs. Like, you're up 30% in 6 weeks. Like, it's got to come back in. And now we're down, probably about 10-12% here off the highs. So, patience is a friend. Probably wants to get down to 22. Doesn't mean it'll go down in a straight line. You probably get a bounce here, a counter trend, pop. But that's probably where it wants to go for a better support level there. Platinum here also backing off, still holding the 100 MA, but this is a little bit weaker ever since you lost that 1040 area. If we hold it by the end of the week, we get a bounce tomorrow. Then it's a little bit better here. You're kind of holding that 20-week moving average, but it's kind of curling down, so a little bit of a weak look. I still like it on the bigger time frames, though, and the same thing for palladium. I'm very interested in this as well. That actually turned around and went green today, so that was not a terrible showing. They're up 1%, 1.5% actually. But we'll continue to watch this. This is on my radar here. Copper, that is up. That is up just over 0.75%. So it's holding that. It's trying to hold these pivots here, so it's hanging in there okay. I just don't want to do anything with it. 370 would be resistance here, as well as the 20 moving average. And if we do head down, looking at the low 340s there. All right, lastly, over to Bitcoin here. So Bitcoin, it's holding up. So nothing great, though. I mean, we just got a pop in the last, I want to say, hour or so. But again, just like I said earlier, you look at the morning, this was, it was chopping around, but then it started to fade, around the same time the Qs were making new highs. So this is just, just lots of divergences out there, nothing really seeming to line up. And that always gets me cautious here. But Bitcoin, again, nothing's really changed. Daily chart's soft. The weekly chart is still okay for now. But you start to lose these levels. I think the clock's kind of running out here on a rally, but we'll see what it does here. All right. Again, back over to the spiders. Here's the levels. So 422 on the upside. That hasn't changed for a long time. You want to see continued action for bulls here above this trend line. You don't want to see any type of rejection tomorrow or thereafter, because that could give you a rising wedge break. And again, on the weekly, the big level on the downside I'm watching is 410.23. And obviously the upside level has not changed. So anyways, guys, can wrap up here. You guys take care. Come find me on carnivoretrades.com. I'll talk to you all tomorrow.